It's NFL Wildcard Weekend on AFR Talk on Sold Out Sports Talk. Roman Gabriel III, of course, you can join us every Saturday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central Time as we talk faith, family, and sports, the passion of sports. Sold Out Youth Ministries. Our whole goal on this program, obviously, is that you would understand that there are positive role models out there who can have an impact in your young people's life. They're all over the place. You just have to look for them, and their priorities are God, family, and their career. And Eugene Robinson is no different. He's I've really enjoyed listening to him on the Carolina Panthers radio network. He's added passion, he's added excitement, and, of course, a great knowledge of the game. And he played on some great football teams. Of course, those Packer teams of 96, 97 that Brett Favre, Reggie White, great defenses. And before we get to these playoff games, Eugene, I want to ask you what you think about our game has really gone to an offensive-minded football game. The rules have swayed, and of course they go back and forth as you go through the years. But when you look at the kind of numbers that Drew Brees, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, if you're not throwing for 4,000 plus yards today and 30 touchdowns, then you're having a tough year.
Yeah, you're mediocre if you don't have 4 grand yards. So something's wrong because I think it has skewed a little bit towards the offense for more points. But you got to look at how quickly that ball is getting delivered too. I mean, that ball is coming out in 2 seconds, less than 2 seconds. The play calling has been excellent. The quarterbacks that you've already mentioned have been outstanding. Drew Brees, particularly one of my favorite quarterbacks, because he just has a way of delegating that ball across the field. So kind of with meticulously and with accuracy and with know-how that he makes opposing defenses just look mediocre, almost look like they're playing 7-on-7. And so, he's one of my favorites. But it really has gone to somewhat of a quarterback league. And I think what's also happening is that a la Cam, RG3, that you see coming in, that the quarterback is going to be one of the best positions on the field, the best athlete on the field, where that position is going to come from a hybrid where you can not only two-pocket quarterback passer, but have the ability to go ahead and run. And you can see that this evolution of the quarterback is slowly changing. And with the rules allow the quarterback to a little bit more protection and also from the receivers some more protection. I think you'll see those numbers increase. I think that 5,000 yards is going to be almost like the standard, or 4,800 yards is going to be standard, and then you're going to see even more yards, something like 6,000, 6,500.
Eugene Robinson knows all about what it's like to play against great quarterbacks. Of course, he did in practice almost every day against Brett Favre as safety for the Green Bay Packers, and 3 Super Bowl appearances, and we're glad to have him in today. Well, let's hit this hard and heavy and quick on these 3 games. Let's go over tonight's game going on right now. Boy, this is a shootout game, and a game people really wanted to see, and a game that was close last time around for at least 3 quarters. Detroit at New Orleans, probably the hottest team in the league. Drew Brees and the Saints. Of course, he broke Dan Marino's total yardage record, which is an incredible feat. And Matthew Stafford with a young Detroit team that's been an incredible surprise with old Megatron out there at wide receiver. They got a tough defense. What do you think about this game?
I think that Detroit is definitely – we got the chance to play Detroit, and what made them even better is the running back. The running back was hurt, and then the third-string running back, and I forget his name, he came in the game and just had a beautiful performance. And because of that performance, it opened up the passing game even more. So, the defense is pretty stout. They got a defensive front that will flat out get after you, no doubt about that. They got some men up there, I know Ndamukong Suh. But even when Fairley comes in the game, you got Bosch on the side. They got some guys who get right after you, and they put a lot of pressure on you, which is really, really good. So I think they match up well, but then the Saints with Drew Brees, he's really getting this ball out so fast. He has so many different weapons, and if you don't disrupt his timing at all, he's going to blow you out the water. Detroit has to disrupt his timing. If they don't disrupt his timing, down in New Orleans where they're undefeated, I almost give them no chance. It's going to be very, very tough for them to beat New Orleans unless you get Drew Brees out of the game and disrupt his timing. And don't forget Darius Sproles back there too. Oh my goodness, forgot about him.
He's been incredible this year and done what they wanted Reggie Bush to do, but just at another level.
Exactly. On a different level. Absolutely.
Explain to me, when you look at Drew Brees' career, what's gone on over the last 4 to 5 years with him, I don't think he gets the attention that he deserves. Now, he does. He won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, but with what's gone on with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers this year, he kind of took a back seat for a little while. But when we talk about faith, family, and football, and a guy hitting his groove in all three of those areas, Drew Brees seems to me to be that guy.
Here's the thing. People always tell me, does God care about football, who wins and loses? Now, so maybe not from the standpoint of what you mean, who wins and loses, but the fact that God's children play football, of course he cares about football. Of course he's concerned about it. The Bible is very, very clear. I'm confident of this, that God will begin a good work in you will complete it the day of Christ Jesus. Well, if he started a good work in you, what do you do? Where do you work at? What is your function? He's bent on making you more and more like Jesus Christ. And I do think that God also elevates the play. Drew Brees reminds me of fine wine. He just gets better and better. And he doesn't get the attention, well, he's getting a little bit emotional now, but he doesn't get the attention he deserves because Aaron Rodgers playing lights out, Brady was playing lights out, Cam was usurping some of that, Stafford was usurping some of that glory from that quarterback position. But make no mistake about it, Drew Brees is the absolute truth. And that dude will carve you up, and when we're done, he will not only be in the Hall of Fame, but we'll be talking about him as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Eugene Robinson, our guest on Sold Out Sports Talk and AFR Talk, breaking down the wild card weekend. And tomorrow, very exciting games, totally different, two decisively different games, but both will be interesting. You got the Atlanta Falcons at the New York Giants, and of course, as you said earlier, the Giants had to beat the Giants had to beat Dallas in order to get into this playoff. But getting back to the quarterbacks, I think this is another one of those games. Matt Ryan's going to have to raise his play for Atlanta because Peyton Manning's playing as good as any quarterback the second half of the season, all season long. I mean, he looks better than he did their Super Bowl year, and in the fourth quarter, he's been lights out.
Eli's been looking really good, and you're right. But here's Atlanta's MO has been predicated upon their run. They've really set things up with Michael Turner, and then he's running the ball, and then they exploit you in the passing game with Gonzalez and Roddy White. I mean, they just have a host of guys they can get the ball to, but I really think it starts with the running game, and it's going to really be up to Tuck, Pierre-Paul, to go ahead and stop that run. If they're able to go ahead and stop that run, it really bodes well for the New York Giants. But it's like I said, Atlanta is a run team that throws the ball extremely well off the run. I don't think they're the true passing team. They can be, but you can get to the quarterback. The Giants have a great defense, and they can get to the quarterback. And then on the flip side of that ball,
I agree with you.
Eli Manning, he's a beast.
I agree with you. I think that the Giants' defensive line has played the last 2 weeks. They've gotten to the quarterback 7 times, and when they apply pressure, it makes it really tough on an offense. So Atlanta's got to be able to run the football if they're going to win. And of course, if it gets to the fourth quarter and tight, I kind of like Eli Manning the way he's played this second half of the season. He's covered a lot of mistakes for the Giants and done great. But when you look at the last game here,
don't forget about Cruz too. Cruz is really playing outstanding right now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's had a great season and made some huge plays at wide receiver for the Giants. So that should be a really interesting game. Now, the final game, I don't know which way this could go in terms of whether – I think it could be close. The only reason I say that, Eugene, is 4:30 on CBS. You got the Steelers at Denver. Now, the Steelers come in. Ben Roethlisberger's hobbled with a high ankle sprain, and that's his game, is buying time. And if he's stuck to being a pocket guy with the Broncos pass rush, this could be tough. And, of course, they're without Mendenhall, their running back, their best running back with a knee injury. Clark, their safety's out. He's got a blood situation that they're not going to allow him to play at the higher level up there. And a lot of guys banged up for the Steelers, and this is a Denver team that when they do play well, when Tebow doesn't turn the ball over, that tends to keep games close. Do you think that could be it, or do you think this will be the same Denver team of 3 weeks past that has been turning the football over that they did not do in the 6 games and 7 games that Tebow was outstanding?
I think you're absolutely right in one regard that it's predicated on the quarterback. You get Big Ben coming in already hobbled, well, guess what? If I'm the defense, I'm going after Big Ben, or I'm going to blitz him, and I'm going to go ahead and try to get him out of the game, maybe put backs in the game. And then I want your kind of reduce him as much as possible to truly a pocket quarterback who's having trouble getting out of the pocket because he's hurt, and then really collapse that running game. And then on the flip side of it is Tebow. I want to make sure that their MO has been to run the ball, and then they pass. Run, and that's because Coach Boston, he was here, he did the exact same thing. Well, if I'm them, I better be able to stop the run because I want him to go ahead and pass the ball. Now, the only thing that really bodes well in the favor of Pittsburgh is that their defense has historically been really, really tough, and they get after you, and they know how to blitz. They zone blitz well. They use Troy Polamalu extremely well, and so I expect they're going to put a lot of pressure on Tim Tebow to go ahead and to try to win this game himself. And I hope he doesn't fall into that trap of trying to win it himself, that it becomes a little more team effort, as opposed to, I think that Pittsburgh can go in Denver and win. However, the only X factor is that their quarterback, Pittsburgh's Steelers quarterback, is hobbled. And if your quarterback's not on all points, then you got a chance. And I think Denver definitely have a chance.
About 1 minute left with Eugene Robinson. Quickly, Eugene, just wanted to get your feelings about the whole Tim Tebow situation, and do you feel like he's a guy that could play?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, yeah, of course this guy can play. I mean, they want to make the kid a fullback. They wanted to make him this. Look, the guy's been playing quarterback all his life. Why not give him a chance and let him play at quarterback? I remember when Chris Leak was there. Somebody wanted to give him a chance. He's been doing it. He's been doing it well. You don't learn the finer points of the game. Nobody comes in there being super-duper seasonal. They learn as they go. And I think it's unfair for people to go ahead and, like, if they talk about he can't throw the ball, well, guess what? He's throwing some touchdowns. Obviously, he can do something. So I'm not like one of them Tebow haters. I love this young man, and I love the fact that, I mean, he's not bashful about his faith, but he's not also throwing his faith in your face. I think that media makes a real big deal about his faith, and I think this is just the competition God is using one man to point the whole world towards him, and I love it.
Eugene, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's a great take on Tim Tebow, but hope it's going to be a good game because Denver, when it plays well, can give teams problems. So great breakdown of the 3 playoff games. And Eugene, appreciate you coming in and taking the time. And, of course, we're going to remember to follow you with the Panthers, and we want to get with you very soon before the season next year as well. But hope to see you soon. God bless you, my brother, and best to your family.
I think we'll appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you. Eugene Robinson, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl champion. When we come back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk, we'll close it out, get you ready for a football Sunday. Got some college next week, national championship game.